Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iori Folani. I guess the only place to be in terms of topics this morning is going to be the Code of Conduct Tribunal and its ruling yesterday. As you know by now, the Code of Conduct Tribunal, the two-man tribunal led by its chairman, Danladi Umar, has actually unanimously upheld the submission of Senate President Bukola Saraki, which was essentially no case. They upheld that, and in so doing, throughout the 18-charge count of false asset declaration and related offenses that have been preferred against him. And so that's that. Or, isn't it? Because the Special Assistant to the President on Prosecution, Mr. Okoye Obono Obla, has expressed surprise, according to him, that the tribunal, again according to him, dismissed the overwhelming weight of evidence that was before it. Well, that's his perspective. This long story short, Senator Bukola Saraki has been discharged and acquitted. His no-case submission has been upheld. It was a duly constituted panel, and I suppose that's the end of that. But let me find out from our guests, both of them lawyers, Dr. Fasi Yusuf, Chief Dr. Fasi Yusuf. He's a lawyer and communications consultant. Fasi, as always, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Yori.
And
interesting time indeed.
Well, very well, if you say so. And Mr. Tunde Kolawole, legal practitioner and social commentator. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Indeed. Now, we have a proper civilized society. You have disputes, you refer them to adjudication. Don't go to any quack place, go to a court of competent jurisdiction, whatever. You know, we've been hearing this all along. Now, the Code of Conduct Tribunal, as I said, in its knowledge, has discharged and acquitted and upheld Senate President Saraki's submission that there is no case against me. Even though I did say that, yes, the President's Special Advisor on Prosecution has expressed surprise. Are you surprised, going by the law of it all?
Well, it's quite amusing. And
oh, amusing?
Yes, and
okay.
Because at one breath, you remember it took about 2 years for us to get to this point of no case submission and the ruling. One would have thought that the way the whole thing was going, that the federal government was going to diligently prosecute the case. Oh, but as we have been told, the prosecution did not do enough homework, and his prosecution was tardy, and the evidence brought before the tribunal could not convict or could not ask Saraki to come forward to defend himself.
Okay, one moment, please.
May I own?
Okay. One moment, please. No, I'm going to come back to there because let me hear from Tunde Kolawole. The prosecution didn't do the best job it could have done, according to a lawyer who has spoken, because there are other lawyers, if you've been reading the reports, who have hailed this decision. So their perspective will be different. That you know, this was a marvelous job. This should now be something we should be able to refer to. So give me your impression on the law of all of this, because Fasi was just saying.
I said according to the tribunal.
Okay.
The prosecutor did not do a tardy. I mean, he did not do a thorough job.
Yes.
I didn't express an opinion.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's important. It's important. Yes. It's important that you are actually quoting the tribunal. So, what do you say, Tunde? Because
well, honestly speaking, right from day one, and I will remember that I even said it at your station here, that case was dead on arrival. Dead on arrival for so many reasons. Reasons within the court and reasons that are outside the court.
Sorry, sir. When you say the case was dead, I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you say the case was dead on arrival, had you preconceived an outcome? Weren't you going to leave it to the CCT to decide, deliberate upon? If from day one you knew it was dead on arrival, did you have a position then?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay.
Absolutely, I do. You see, we as lawyers, we are supposed to act on empirical evidence. And when certain things are being done in the courtroom, a diligent lawyer should be able to predict the direction in which the pendulum of justice was going to swing. Seeing what the prosecution was doing, and knowing the antecedent of Dr. Bukola Saraki as a person, I knew he would do just anything under the act to make sure that that trial is frustrated and in his favor. But
he didn't do so much, according to what I'm hearing.
He did.
Let me explain myself, sir. Let me explain the statement, sir.
Yeah.
I say he didn't do so much, since you legal minds have said that the prosecution might have done, well, are reporting that the tribunal said the prosecution might have done a better job. For instance, they say that they neglected to take a statement from him, for example. The most basic, you don't even need to be a lawyer to imagine that.
That is another year not there. When you look at Section 36, 11 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it says that no defendant or suspect is compelled to volunteer statement. In his own defense, you can go to court throughout the proceeding and say, look, I'm not going to enter a single word. Let the prosecutor go ahead and say what.
So that's a variant of what the police people say, that you don't have to say anything.
If the defendant is not compelled under any law to say anything, it's not important that the prosecution should take evidence from him. They could use some other circumstantial evidence, which in this instance is very, very overwhelming. To nail Bukola Saraki.
But fine. But I'm still staying on the straight and narrow. The CCT, it's a two-man panel. A legal luminary heads it up. He knows the law, otherwise he wouldn't be there. I'm thinking that we can leave matters, by and large, in the hands of judges for fair adjudication, according to the law.
See, my own problem is this. I've been issue. The Code of Conduct Tribunal chairman, when this matter was brought before him, the act establishing the Code of Conduct Bureau and the tribunal makes provision for the judge or the chairman to go through the documents brought before him and to approve if certain conditions are met. But if he knew from the onset that these conditions were not met, why did he approve the trial? And why were we allowed to go? Why were we allowed to go through this macabre dance? At the end of the day, for 2 years, going to Court of Appeals, going to this, and remitted back and all that. At the end of the day, I mean, you're making a mockery of the whole system.
Well, okay, Fassi, those are your words, because we've also heard from you legal people that the wheels of justice grind slowly, they turn slowly.
No. Look, what I said was that why was the country allowed to go through this macabre dance? If from the onset, the chairman of the tribunal knew that nothing before him could warrant the trial of this case or successful trial of this case, why was it ever done?
You see, I'm at a disadvantage here because I'm not a lawyer and you guys are lawyers. And I've heard in a different context, you guys say that, sorry, the court is not Father Christmas. It's not going to be helping people out. It's not going to give you what you didn't ask for. Even where the court knows that, look at an error going on, but it's not their business to point out, say, my friend, you're going the wrong way.
But at the end of the day, see, Saraki is now pontificating, talking about malicious prosecution.
Because it was a no-case submission.
Yes, so it would be right to that extent to talk about malicious prosecution. If a no-case submission has been upheld, as it is now, whereas in the first instance, we could have been saved all this
but then the court would have become Father Christmas.
No.
But how about that part about they don't give you what you don't ask for?
It was the prosecution that approved the court. And what the provision says is that the chairman, having been convinced that there's a prima facie case, then will allow the trial to go on.
Okay. Well, the problem here, and thank you very much, gentlemen, for leading us on in this whole matter and helping us understand it a bit. The problem, therefore, is that just about the only thing left to inquire into is the whole speculation about a conspiracy theory. So what went on?
I strongly believe in that, and the reason is very, very obvious. Like Doctor has said, why would the CTC chairman, president, allow the trial to go when the proof of evidence made available to him is neither here nor there? Furthermore, and this is very, very germane to me, it was under Dr. Kanu Agabi, when he was Attorney General of the Federation, that the EFCC and some of these organizations were funded. You also remember that Rotimi
Omar served under him.
Exactly. You also remember, and then with due respect, Rotimi Jacobs, I think was also chief of staff or personal assistant to Dr. Kanu Agabi when he was Attorney General of the Federation. Why would Bukola Saraki
and the brother Umar and the brother Sambo
yes
also worked
under Kanu Agabi or thereabout? So why would Bukola Saraki go and hire Kanu Agabi to defend this case? And then you also look at the Rotimi Jacobs that when the man you serve as the chief of staff now came in and all that, now became the lawyer to Dr. Bukola Saraki and all that. Does it not make ethical sense to yes, look, I am going to withdraw from this matter? And the reason is, let me give one example. A governor in this country once approached Ganifa Wahimi. He was going to be prosecuted by the EFCC. And he went to Chief Ganifa Wahimi and said, look, whether it is dollar, pound sterling or euro, I have it and I'm ready to give you whatever amount that you want to do this case to defend me against the EFCC. And Chief Ganifa said, no problem. I will only ask you a few questions. If you're able to satisfy me, hey, we'll go ahead. That's why I'm here. And then Chief Ganifa called all the lawyers in the chamber, about 27 of them, including himself, and said, look, Mr. Gona, I will ask you just one question. Did you actually steal this money or not? And the governor started jabbering. He couldn't give any straightforward answer. The chief asked him more than 3 times. At the end, they said, you know, when I was going to be impeached and all that, we needed some money and all that and all that. And then Chief Ganifa said, in that instance, I'm not going to defend your case. Take your euros and pounds away. If people like Dr. Kanu Agabi, under whom EFCC was founded, truly believe that we require to fight corruption in this country, should they have taken the case of Dr. Bukola Saraki?
Well,
and knowing the role
I hear you.
People like Rotimi Jacobs,
yeah,
but that is one side. That is one side.
That is one side.
Let me go a little further. And Rotimi Jacobs also being the other chief of staff or personal assistant to Dr. Kanu Agabi and all that. And knowing the implications of some of this, should he have gone away to do the kind of dirty job he actually did? Because when this matter was going on and all the evidences was put in, when I looked at them, I said, look, I even said, there are more weighty allegations against Dr. Bukola Saraki. Why have these people deliberately chose this very, very soft case? Which we told, because at the end of the day, it is either you cannot send Dr. Bukola Saraki to prison based on this. All you needed to do is maybe he cannot contest election or public office for a certain number of years. And then you confiscate assets. If you confiscate those assets, has even more of those assets that it doesn't make any difference to him.
Well, that you don't know.
And then there are people, the people in Kwara State who have been at the brunt of the kleptocracy of Dr. Bukola Saraki. There are tens and hundreds of them in there who are eager and waiting to get some of these other serious cases against Bukola and come to court to testify against it. So why did the federal government go for this very, very soft case against Dr. Bukola Saraki?
The only problem.
So that is why we think this is a contrived.
The only problem with your comments is that there is no case against Bukola Saraki according to the CCT.
Even in this one, there are cases. I will say Dr. Bukola Saraki wasn't collecting the salary of, in Kwara State, and then also collecting the salary in the Senate when he was there.
Excuse me. Can I comment?
Please comment. Because this is very interesting and illuminating to me. Because you guys are not sitting on that judge's seat.
Yes.
He would have seen stuff.
Let me come from another perspective.
Sure.
Personally, the judge should have disqualified himself.
Okay.
From sitting on that case. Number one, he worked under Kanu Agabi as a UCOPA, as a counsel, as a young counsel. His brother also worked with Kanu Agabi when he was Attorney General of the Federation. And again, there are several allegations against the chairman of the tribunal himself. Remember the case of Taiwo, the former controller of customs, and so many others. So that is one perspective. The other perspective is that, will you blame Saraki for availing himself all the facilities at his disposal?
Yes.
Because of the type of justice administration system we practice in this part of the world, where everybody is presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. And there is a dictum in our criminal justice administration system that says it is better for 100 accused persons to go scot-free, that for one innocent soul to be convicted. So to that extent, if Saraki says, he has the money to hire all the best brains in this world, and like I said on TVC last night, that look, the unfortunate thing is that somebody has got the money, wherever, to hire 15 senior advocates of Nigeria, and the prosecution can only afford just one senior lawyer. And you can imagine.
I hear you, but you see, here again, wait a minute, sir. I want to be, you see, because we're going before a court, you're not going to a palm wine bar, you're going before a court with those 15, even 17 SANs. The judge is not going to be fazed by that. The judge is not going to take his decision based on the 22 SANs before him. No. It's going to be based on the body of evidence and what they say, I imagine. You know, I'm just saying my own from my little corner here.
The point is this. If we say 2 is better than 1, if you have a team of lawyers prosecuting a case, you see, they will look at the case from different perspectives and look at the various loopholes and try to plug all the loopholes. But in this particular case, the prosecution will be overwhelmed.
But why? Maybe let's go there. Maybe let's go there. Why do we want to fight corruption and then we ourselves are putting in place a prosecution that is easily overwhelmed? Because, you know, this is not the first time, if indeed that is what happened, this is not the first time we've had this complaint.
Uncle Folani, in fact, that is a very jamming question you have asked. Not only that we are never prepared and hiring.
Why don't we, that is the prosecution, have 23 SANs before the judge?
Let me even put the case this way without being too cynical about our friend Rotimi Jacobs and all that. Why is it always the one handling some of these high-profile juicy cases for the EFCC? You want to ask that question? And then it may not also be true that he doesn't have the services of some other heads with him. The Ministry of Justice is always there. There are councils in the EFCC. There are in the Code of Conduct and some of these places that all of them ought to have put their resources together and then be able to arrive at the better prosecution now, of the case they did. And then one other jamming question, an issue that Dr. raised, which I want to add, is this presumption of innocence. It is a cliche under our law and it is being abused. Section 36(5) and other. When you look at the dictionary meaning of presumption of innocence, it says, look, it's an assumption. You are assumed to be innocent, on the contrary is proven that way. When you are before a court, the court to assume.
I understand the French do it differently. The French do it the other way around.
You see, what is done there?
And the judgment in this case, the CCT has even predicated his decision on this matter that Dr. Bukola Saraki is presumed to be innocent, and so he ought not to be called upon to defend himself, despite the avalanche of evidence that have been made available to the tribunal.
Well, that is why. That is why. There's another upstairs. The Court of Appeal.
Yes. So
the prosecution is at
the prosecution has that option in this case.
It's at liberty.
Because it said it will be studying.
Yes, it's at liberty to appeal.
Decision.
But you see, the whole thing borders on the criminal justice administration in this country. That justice is for the highest bidder. That is in parentheses. It is when you have money that you can hire the best brain. Ordinarily, a lesser mortal would have been asked to come forward to defend himself. But because for about 2 years, this case was on, and this man was able to sustain the number of lawyers he hired. How many people? Can you afford that? Can I afford that? It's not possible.
But did he do anything illegal?
He also sustained himself, doctor, with public funds, not his private money.
What you're saying,
with public funds.
What I seem to be understanding is that well, it's almost like you guys are sour grapes about the man didn't do anything outside of the law. He used the very law, right? He used the
instrumentality
of the law. Yes.
But what I'm saying is that it is because all the resources are at his disposal.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the point. And secondly, you see, we have to talk about the moral perspective. Although lawyers, we will argue that there's a difference between law and morality. But at the same time, there should be a convergence There should be a meeting point. Honestly.
Yeah, of course. That's what the ordinary man wants. Yes. But you people always tell us that no.
Even when you study
the law is an art sometimes.
You find out that all laws have their root in morality. All laws have their root in morality.
Indeed.
But in practice,
and so in application. So why are we uncomfortable with this morality that the law has put down on the ground for us?
That is because we are a nation.
Saraki, go.
No charge. We are a nation lacking in morality. We are a nation lacking in rectitude. We are a nation lacking in all the good things that, honestly, one can imagine.
But we can't say we're lacking in due process. Saraki was put through the due process for 2 years.
Is there any due process in this country?
Okay.
In a Senate climb, he would not have sat there for 1 day. Once he was charged to court, he will have excused himself from that seat. Even if he would still be a senator, not presiding.
Okay, we're going back to morality again.
Yes.
In that kind of a society.
Yes. Otherwise, if you're number 3, and look at all the machinery of government, taxpayers' funds, as is the proposal, going with the government vehicle for its trial, going with ADC, going with all these things. So
what exactly, gentlemen?
Too many are wrong.
I wanted to find out what exactly you are saying, because this decision has been handed down. That you people can now run with this position.
We are saying that
Saraki has no case to answer.
We are saying that we need to do a lot of soul searching in this country.
Okay.
That it's a nation lacking in morality, it's a nation lacking in rectitude, and it's a nation lacking in perspective to global development.
And all of this has been brought out by the decision of the CCC yesterday.
No, it's another manifestation.
Yes, it's another manifestation. Yes, just another manifestation. Well, there's a little more to say about this. Maybe what we want to do is hear from home, because I'm sure people have their impressions about it. But the position right now is that the court has decided, the tribunal has decided that there is no case. And as I said, reading the papers, there are lawyers who are very, very enthusiastic about this decision, naturally. Of course, there are other lawyers, perhaps many, many more lawyers, who are wondering
why some of us are worried, Uncle Folani.
Yes.
Why some of us are worried. In a sane society, the justice system ought to take judicial notice of the prevalence of corruption in the society. Look at the attitude of our court to armed robbery, for example. Look at the attitude of our court to kidnapping. Look at the attitude of our court to pipeline vandalization. Because the judicial system believes that those crimes go to the root of the society, it has the capacity to undermine the whole of the society at all. So when a man is arraigned in court for things like armed robbery, pipeline vandalizations, and what have you, the court always they look at it and take those cases very, very seriously, knowing that the nature and the prevalence of corruption in this society and the consequences on the economy and the society as a whole. We expect our justice system, for example, to be more stern in dealing with cases of corruption. Let me give you an example of one of the mistakes. Let me give you an example.
Forgive me, I really must take a break because Mazi Okorafor has called in from Aruchuku. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, Sir Yori. Good morning, our guest.
Okay, do call.
We thank God because has put that case to rest. Let's give our court a chance and let's wait. If another case of such magnitude will come, then we will now assess. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because here in Nigeria now, Nigerians are afraid or not, they don't trust the judiciary. That is why you see, if you open pages of paper, you see different people's opinions. So to my own aspect, to my own experience, I would say Nigerians, let's wait and see what other cases will come up. Thank you very much and have a blessed day in Lagos.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, again, this is another problem because, you see, you lawyers have continually told us that, look, it's one thing to be talking outside logic, your conversation, common sense, intelligence, all of that is fine and well and good. But within the law, there are all sorts of quirks. That's what you tell us. That's what you tell us, right? There are all sorts of quirks that cannot but be followed. So I'm wondering if this is one of those.
You see, my own word is this. To borrow the words of Shakespeare, when beggars die, There are no comments seen. They even themselves lament the death of princes. You see, the cases my Line colleague alluded to, these are cases involving the poor masses. How many I provide armed robbers have you seen? Apart from the Evans case. And we don't even know how that to go.
I hear you, but let me quickly bring in Mr. George. I beg your pardon, please. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Please, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Yes. All right. Uncle Yori, I want to remind people about the statement President Buhari made when he was campaigning. He said, if we do not kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. Those who are in one way or the other supporting corruption and the way the judiciary has embraced the attitude of truncating it, they should know that if corruption kills Nigeria, the corrupt and the proponents of corruption will not be spared. Nigeria will not remain for them. All of us will go down if corruption is allowed to kill us. This case is enough for President Buhari to redraft his strategy. Uncle Yori, you know I have always called your station to express my reservations about the CGN. He has made it point blank that there is no corruption in the judiciary. With that attitude, there is no elite. Those who are actually stealing our money that will go to jail. Even one of them that was sent to jail, you saw how they corruptly removed him from the cell and is nowhere to be found today. We are saying that if this war on corruption must go on, there must be a serious attitude towards it. There is a rumor in the media since yesterday that the judge received 2 million naira bribe for this
Dollars.
2 million naira only?
The war
you meant $2 million.
You meant $2 million. The speculation.
We can't fight corruption.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. But I think you meant $2 million is the wicked speculation that is was out there in the press.
Let me say this much. Corruption has killed Nigeria. It's just that Nigeria has not been buried. I'm just praying that Nigeria will just wake up. Because let's assume that Nigeria is just comatose. It's not clinically dead.
Okay. If you're feeling this strongly about it, sir, if you're feeling this strongly about it,
yes,
and both of you, if you're feeling this strongly about it,
look at
what are the options? It's not the option. The federal government has said that.
Excuse me.
It'll check it out
because of our legal system. The option cannot be said on air. We'll sit in our bedrooms and at beer parlors. Because what is happening now is that, look at even at the Senate yesterday, when they should be so searching, when people should be sober, they went frenzy.
They were jubilant.
They were frenzy. And look at what happened in Kwara State. People with teachers and all the rest.
Yes.
I mean, look, I feel sad for this country.
Mr. Yakub, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning once again, Shivjori.
Thank you for calling.
And then once again, God Almighty will continue blessing for giving us opportunity again. Shivjori, good morning to the gentleman in the studio.
Thank you, sir.
Shivjori, this is a hard moment in Nigeria. You know why? For all these trials, since almost 2 years, Shivjori, yesterday, the justice system still giving us a big blow again, once again. Shivjori, if you open yourself today and then you go to Sahara Reporter, you will see what is going on in this country there concerning this very particular case. Then, it is a very, very unfortunately in this country that you must be proven guilty and you must be innocent or something before the court of law until you proven guilty. Why can't they proving them that you are guilty before you before the court of law
that's not our system. I understand. I'm not sure, but I understand the French go that way. That's not our system. So we have to work with what we have, and it doesn't always pan out the way we would want. But we have it, and it's going to enter the records.
Honestly,
it's going to enter the records. At one time,
as a lawyer, you know,
yes.
I keep on pondering, why is it that only poor people are convicted in this country?
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back because it's a big question. Why is it that only poor people are convicted in this country? Okay, stay with us, please. We'll come back and look at that, including other things we're looking at, and also take more of your calls. Welcome back. It's the day after the Code of Conduct Tribunal threw out the whole case, the case against Senate President Bukola Saraki, 18-count charge of false declaration of assets and related offenses, saying that he had, well, his submission to all of that in any case was no case, and the CCT agreed with him. So, gentlemen, since people are getting a bit hot under the collar about it, what are the options if they wanted to sort of pursue this a bit further just to satisfy all righteousness? Can this be appealed? The lawyers, the federal government lawyers, I understand, have said that they will study this outcome and know what to do after that. Is there a likelihood that they could appeal and maybe assuage some of those people who are outraged at this decision?
Well, the opportunities are there according to the Constitution. If you feel aggrieved by a decision of a lower court, you could always go upstairs. The Court of Appeal as far as the Supreme Court. Even Dr. Bukola Saraki himself have exercised that right, taking all sorts of interlocutory applications as far as the Supreme Court. But,
and that's money speaking.
Amen. But you see, when you look at this case very, very critically, what are the chances of success? Even when you go on appeal, in my humble opinion, honestly speaking, is below 50%. And what the higher court will even do is to remit the case back to the CCT to retry them, to ask the man to defend themselves. And is he going to appear before the same set of people? No. The chances are that these people would obtain their own decision. As it were today, it's almost very, very slim, because okay, I'm not too sure new evidence or panel will be constituted, or that new evidence.
That's strange to me, though, that if you want to appeal, usually when you go upstairs is to meet a different set of senior judges, but you're saying that in this case, it's not so.
No. You see, the CCT is a tribunal. It's not a regular court. It's not a regular court. So, for now, there are only 2 members, whereas it should be 3. But the Supreme Court has said that, look, 2 should be enough. So if the panel is not enlarged, that is, you don't have an additional panelist, or you don't have another arm, it's going to be the same people.
I see. Yes. I get what you're saying. Mr. Shegun, good morning, and thank you for holding on. Go ahead now, please.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Folani.
Good morning, sir.
And the gentleman in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Shegun Shokwito. I'm calling from Ogba. I think this Saraki ruling, we've been told by lawyers that it was a ruling and not a judgment. Is another one in a series of failures on the part of the federal government, and in particular the Attorney General. Now there are insinuations, out there that perhaps Umar has been bribed $2 million and all of that. What about the Justice Ademola case? Was the judge bribed? So I think that what all of this is pointing at is that the federal government, in this so-called anti-corruption war, and I say so-called because the jury is out whether there is a corruption war or not, there needs to be a change of strategy. Number one, sir, the AGF has shown he does not have the capacity to deliver the results that Nigerians are looking for. We know that corruption is a big problem in this country and needs a very, very clear, well-articulated strategy. The AGF cannot deliver that. I think this government must fire the AGF with immediate effect. That's number one. Number two, the EFCC and other investigating agencies must change strategy. This idea of going to the media, this idea of going after people with cameras to record things and then putting it in the media must stop. You go to court, go with your evidence, get a conviction, then let the reporters, the judicial correspondent, let them be the one to tell the story. Oh, this person has been convicted for so and so crime, and then we begin to take the government serious. And finally, sir, I think that beyond this issue of cases in court and all of that, the corruption war must be a war on the mind. We have a value problem in Nigeria that needs to be addressed. And if the government does not do that, all of this, we're just dealing with symptoms. God will help us, Mr. Folani. Let me leave the air for others to
Thank you very much, Mr. Shokwiton. Very, very well said. In fact, I was wondering what the attorney,
Minister of Justice?
No, even who is the top dog in the whole justice system?
Is the Attorney General?
Yes, the Chief Justice of Nigeria. He's also observing all of this. He has said that people are being unfair when they talk about the judiciary and corruption. They don't know how it works. So all of this is going on. I wonder, he probably is satisfied with all of this. But the problem here is people are now questioning the sincerity or otherwise of the war against corruption, because examples are being cited. I like something that Mr. Shokwiton just said in there, that, and you have alluded to it yourself here, perhaps the strategy should be to now go back and make sure that when the prosecution authorities do what they do, they should do it scrupulously. Instead of all these things that you're now telling us, that they didn't do it well enough, they didn't have enough lawyers. As you said, 2 heads are better than 1. Why are only certain people get... it looks like you can't keep on doing the same thing every time and expect a different result.
Honestly,
we're losing too many cases, people might say.
I'm persuaded to agree with the last caller. You see, I think the Attorney General of the Federation, with proper respect, is a senior advocate of Nigeria.
Sure.
But it does not strike me as someone that has the competence, the capacity, and the capability to undo the enormous issues confronting this nation. Because even his disposition can hardly convince anybody. His disposition can hardly convince anybody. So to that extent, I think there is need for re-strategizing. Because if you don't do that, honestly,
you see,
onto your tent to Israel. It may be the case of onto your tent to Israel.
With an anecdote.
We have a problem here.
Let me call him,
First
sir,
of
with
all,
an anecdote,
the appropriate body within the law profession has dubbed him a silk. That's one level. Then so much time was spent looking for the team of the president. Remember? It wasn't done within a week or 2.
And people were not expecting that it would be the Attorney General.
And now we're saying
people
all
were not
of this.
expecting that it would be the Attorney General.
Honestly speaking, if you change the Attorney General, in my humble opinion, it's not going to make any difference. Let me give you one example.
The Nigerian system.
Yes, let me give you one example. I know of somebody.
Let it be after Mr. Marvelous. Mr. Marvelous has been holding on for a while. I'll come straight back to you. Good morning. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah. I know of somebody who prosecutes a case for the EFCC. And I was asking him, why is it that most of these high-profile cases, the EFCC and then you people prosecuting these cases are not measuring up to expectations of the Nigerian? But he told me once, he said, look, Tunde, we have a avalanche of evidence to nail these people. That is because there is a way some of these people, powerful people who are being prosecuted, have a way of compromising the system. And he gave himself as an example. He has a case in his hand which is prosecuting one of the former governors now. And the former governors, he told me, sent some people to him and initially offered 200 million. When he would not budge, they raised it to 300 million. As at the last count, they were asking for, they were ready to give him 500 million to score to the case. And there are so many ways by which you can
it's depressing. It's depressing that we're still hearing about this kind of a thing after the Buhari administration came along and said it's no more business as usual. But let me bring Mr. Okpara from VI in. Good morning, Mr. Okpara.
Yes, Uncle Yori, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, remember the time this government was sworn in, I told you something. Will they allow this man to work? The judiciary, the Senate, and the House of Assembly, these 3 people. What we are seeing today, Nigeria is a white sepulchre. Outwardly beautiful, inside rotting bones. Can you imagine the type of the corruption we are having in Nigeria? The corruption has destroyed this nation. Let me give you an example. In my street, I saw NEPA cutting out light with 3 vans of policemen moving around with them. Police who supposed to be in the road, checking the crime and other things. NEPA went and hired them and they cutting people's light because they know that people will revolt. The street that have no light for months, they intimidate the people. This is the part of the corruption.
Yeah.
I pray that God will help us in this nation. The Nigeria today is not working.
Okay. All right then. Thank you very much for calling in. Interesting conversation we're having here. You have a situation like this. I mean, it's not possible for there to be a draw. It's not possible for there to be a draw. There will be a winner, quote unquote, and there will be a loser, quote unquote. You can't have a draw in this kind of a situation.
Unfortunately, I think my friend, my colleague here, and that council, they can also be charged for concealing vital information. Because if you are prosecuting somebody,
yes,
and he's trying to compromise you, what did you do?
Well,
then that fellow must be part of the problem of this country.
He sent emissaries.
Yes.
He didn't approach the man directly. Yeah. He sent them mysteries. So, Kufolani, please let us look this issue of the CJN and all that the society is being unfair to the justice system. We as lawyers have been asked to stop criticizing the court system and the judges. But you see, when you see some of these cases and all that, you feel irritated about the whole thing. I'll give you an example, and using the dictum of Lord Denning. He said, look, justice can only be said to be done when an ordinary man who sits in a courtroom and observes the procedure that's going on in a case in a courtroom and came out either nodding his head and saying that justice has either been done in these cases or not been done. If all the judges, if all the rulings and the judgments that are coming from our court does not meet the aspirations and yearnings of the average Nigerian person, who are themselves also not fools, they don't need to be loyal to know what is right and what is wrong, then the CJN should be concerned about what the street is saying.
Okay, Mr. Abraham in Taraba, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Mr. Yori, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen in the studio.
Good morning. Sir.
Okay. So I want to say emphatically that this administration has automatically failed us. Because if you look at their promises, one of their major promises...
Wait a minute. We're talking about the Code of Conduct Tribunal, right? We're talking about the Code of Conduct Tribunal and its ruling. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know. Yes.
So how can you now say the country has failed us?
No, government, the administration.
The administration, I beg your pardon.
What I'm saying is, the federal government are the one prosecuting Saraki.
Don't listen to yourself. Carry on, please.
So, and if you can look at it vividly, you know that the federal government has failed us in prosecuting this case.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is the issue of corruption. The issue of corruption, they have failed on that agenda automatically. So I'm just waiting. If they come back 2019 to tell us what we should vote for them is. Because as far as I'm concerned, they are already convicting those umbrellas on the street. All the big wings, they have not convicted any person. Look at the one in Adamawa. Where is he now? But if somebody steal 1,000, 2,000, they will convict and will be celebrating.
Okay.
So automatically, to me, they are failed under this agenda of fighting corruption. The perception they are giving us, the laymen, is that all the big men cannot be convicted. It's only the small ones that will be convicted.
And the law should be very, very concerned with that notion going all over the place, because they can't afford for that notion to go all over the place. But it needs to be said that so far, I've not heard any viewer call in yet and speak for this decision. But there are people, for instance, Governor Fayoshe has hailed, this particular ruling. Ahmed and others, Zekome, another Silk, has spoken actively for this. There are other people who, it's not all black. Some people are saying that, look, the right thing was done. A lot of people are saying that, as Mr. Opara has just said, the federal government has failed us. Somehow they're blaming the federal government for this, and you guys are pointing out that.
Excuse me,
EFCC.
I will not attach any weight to any statement from Fayoshe. It does not strike me as a reasonable human being.
Okay, and it's an excellency.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's a misnomer.
Okay.
Secondly, we know the antecedents of Zekome, so I will not attach any weight to whatever he says. So those two people talking to me doesn't amount to anything.
Okay.
But the point
Zekome is a Silk. That's all.
Yori, please. Don't make me feel melancholic.
Doc, my answer to that.
Yes. Okay. Because I'm just looking at these people know the law.
No, I think Yori, you're a bit sarcastic today.
Sarcastic.
You're a bit sarcastic.
I'm trying to deal only with the facts.
Okay.
Only with the facts.
Because what he's a Sikh now, it means he has the monopoly of knowledge, or he's knowledgeable in every intent and purpose.
No, just that he's an experienced lawyer. I imagine that's what Silk says.
Okay. So we that are
not Silk,
lacking in experience, you brought us here.
No. It's you lawyers among yourselves that give yourselves that elevation, that these ones have served
It's
enough.
a privilege. It's a privilege.
Okay.
Let me quickly say this. I take my own stand from
because they cost much. They cost more. Silks cost more. If you want Silks to defend you, it's going to cost more than a regular lawyer, right?
Yeah. Not really that. Conrad Taylor said that the lawyer must live for the direction of his society.
Okay.
And the past, Ozekome and all of us used to wage all these wars against corruption and then human rights and what have you.
Yeah.
Suddenly, he's on the other side. Why so? Well,
this is
your guess is as good as mine. But let me say this, and very, very emphatically, that if the justice system does not live to the expectation of the average Nigerian person, it is an invitation to anarchy. It is an invitation to self-help, which we are all trying to avoid.
Good morning, Mr. Black. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please. Did I just lose Mr. Black calling in from Surulere? I think I did. Did I? Mr. Black? He's gone. He's gone.
Yes.
The problem here is that the law must not be allowed to mix up itself with politics. And it's beginning to sound...
Yes, like my colleague said, we have to be circumspect in the way we apply the law in this country. Because if the society lacks confidence in our justice system, the alternative is anarchy, it's self-help. I will pray we don't get to that level.
Indeed.
Because the way it is now, and look at even the man that was convicted in Rama State was let off the hook. They procure a medical report and made it available to the court that this man is sick.
It's just that I need to say
so
that...
what is happening in this country? Why should it be the poor man every now bearing the brunt?
As we were preparing for this program, we tried to get both sides of the case. It wasn't that easy for us. It's why we don't have one of those representing the other side that are hailing this particular decision. It would have been interesting to hear the perspective of that person, but so that we are then left with a very...
No, it can only be legalistic.
That person?
Yes, it can only be legalistic.
Who is in defense of
but
this?
We are saying that the nation has gone beyond that. This is a critical moment in our nation's history.
What can we do? What can we do then? What can we do?
No, saying that
this is a pressing danger. It's a present danger.
The ordinary man out there must be made to believe in our justice system.
Because you've just explained the danger
if
hope is lost.
Yes.
And you see, like Doctor said, we are in an era of substantial justice. And when you look at the ruling coming from the CCC, it's simply on technicalities.
Okay, Mr. Adeshino from Ojo. Good morning, sir. Mr. Adeshino, waiting for you. Mr. Adeshino.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. You're our last caller. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning to your guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, the question I would like to ask, why did it take 2 years before Saraki will be asked to go that the case, he has no case submission about the issue on the ground? But I want to cast your mind back to the case of Ibori in the UK. You see, Ibori was tried in Nigeria with about 100, was charged with about 100 charges, and the court said no case to answer.
Yeah.
And I tell you, within 3 months, the case was tried in UK, and he was convicted. But now that tells us about the judicial system we have in Nigeria. It takes 2 years for you to try a case that all the rigmarole we know that goes with the cases, the withdrawal, the going to appeal, Supreme, come back to the CCT. We need to try to do some correction in the system. If we continue like this, if either nobody was there, what happened? Why? Maybe the reason why the judge took that decision because of inconsistency about the witness and all that. But then we leave the issue at hand. We need to move forward, Uncle Yori. And I want us to say that for we to correct this problem, if you don't correct the institution, make everything right, we will continue to have this problem. And again, I want you to say again on this program.
I got to go. I beg your pardon. I've got to go. But thank you very much, Mr. Additional. Well, you cited the Ibori example. He was, no case here over in a different jurisdiction. He was, well, different strokes for different folks. It's clear they say democracy itself. There's no such thing as a universal democracy. So it looks like they brought that to the law as well. So what can be a no case in this jurisdiction can be a very serious case in another jurisdiction. And you see, mentioning that Ibori, by the way, when he came back, has he gone anywhere near a cell or anything like that? If anything, he has gotten more accolades, more chieftaincy titles. So it's
even the clergy,
yes,
extolling his virtues.
So it's a different setup that we have to contend with here. We cannot, but
then why don't you just legalize corruption?
No, we can't do that.
But unfortunately, we are all common law countries. Even the Britain you are talking about is the same common law.
No matter, Nigeria is still Nigeria.
Yes, but why should we be different?
Be different.
Well,
when we now become laughing stock in the Committee of Nations.
So, well,
Nigeria is a country that anything goes.
I tried my best to be very, very circumspect and tread the straight and narrow. I want to thank you very much for airing this particular issue. Thank you very much, Dr. Fassi.
Today, honestly, I'm very sad. This country is feeling me.
Let's wait on the prosecution. Maybe they can make something of it.
Forget about that. Why should we get to that extent?
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you, Mr. Kolawole. That's our program today. Bye-bye for now.